Yo, you know this man, Cortez. Make sure you subscribe. Full Court Press, new season, new episodes. We're going to have a lot of things to talk about, a lot of stuff industry-wise, battle rap-wise, and a lot more content for y'all. Tap in. Subscribe now.
Instead of a school playground, a tear instead of a beaming smile.
Focused on the grind, never kick back. I ain't holding shit back. This 40 still poking where my rib at. Little homie moms never can where her kids at. This bodega corner store where she get a fix at.
Yo, Full Court Press. You know when I turn that camera on, I gotta tap in with the people. There's a lot going on right now. A lot going on right now in the industry. And I felt like I had to turn the camera on and speak my side of the story, because this is something that, like, a lot of artists, a lot of battlers, anybody that's in the industry, this should be a topic that you should really pay attention to if you're really taking your career seriously, if you're really trying to figure out how to succeed as an independent artist. If you're a major artist and you're getting money and you're doing streams and all this, you have to pay attention to this topic right here. And it's about Drake suing Universal Music Group and Spotify. Let me tell y'all, this is an unprecedented move by Drizzy. No one saw this coming. And I see a lot of people like, oh, he went against the code. You know, he's suing. Why y'all playing in court? Why? Because he lost a battle? Listen, if you're an artist, you should really understand that this has nothing to do with Kendrick. And this has everything to do with a consumer and an artist being directly shopped to a consumer, and the influence that he can have, not just with his music, but with his affiliations. Now, I'm not saying that Kendrick did this on purpose. I'm not saying that Drake hasn't done this in the past. I don't know. But what the facts and what the accusations are is what interests me. That's what I want to get into. That's the spicy talk. You feel me? Like, that's the real thing that you really want to deep dive into. And those are the things I really want to talk about. Now, first off, he's not breaking the street code by doing this. It's not like he's snitching on the streets and something that you know, like something that could get somebody knocked. No, this is basically realizing what's going on, and he's actually doing something that may help a lot of other artists, independent and majors, with this lawsuit. First off, he's accusing them of utilizing bots. He's also accusing them of altering the algorithm. He's also saying that Spotify and Universal had a deal behind the scenes where they licensed the record for 30% less than what they would do for a normal record. Now, that is the first thing that caught my eye. 30% less is a huge discount. How does Spotify and UMG just negotiate something like that? You can't devalue. This ain't a brick where it's like the plug can just go in, yo, you know what, I'm gonna get this to you on a love, you know what I mean, we spin a block. Nah, like, this is a problem in the industry. Nobody knows the value of their music because no one really knows the value of a stream. And it's been brought up plenty of times in the last 10, 15 years. Nobody knows what the value of a stream is. And the value of a stream on Spotify is different than what the value is on Apple, than what it is on Tidal, than what it is on Pandora, and so forth. And to me, that's crazy. Record sales back in the days, you buy an album, $10.99, $15.99, $9.99, $1.99, 99-cent singles, whatever it is, that was the value. You knew exactly what your song was worth. You knew your percentages. You knew your splits. There's a lot that goes into making music. There's a lot of people that need to be paid when you're making music in this industry. So now you're basically saying we can alter that whenever we feel like it. And that is a problem. That's a huge problem. So 30% less on a discount for a record that's pushed into the algorithm. And then they're forcing this song on people on the algorithm. This is what he's claiming. And he's saying they're also utilizing bots. He said 60 to 65% of what the song generated was pushed by bots. That is insane. He's basically saying that y'all made the record hotter than what it is. He could sound like a sore loser for that. But we're going to get to why he's claiming this too, because you can't just say these things without a reason and have a good reason. And I feel like the reason that he's saying it is a good reason, you know? First off, him doing this, he's going to he's going to force the courts to audit the label. Now that the label's going to get audited, it's going to force everyone to be able to look deeper into what business and the transactions and the deals that they're making behind the scenes for a record or for an artist, and the influence that they have. That's a big thing, because none of us know that, and that will also help us learn and understand what the value of a stream is. That's the whole thing here. That's the whole thing. Like, no one knows the value of their music. If you don't know the value of your music, then you don't know how much you're worth, which means you can't walk into an office and negotiate something, which is the problem here. Drake had a deal with Universal Music Group, $400 million. That was the biggest deal. And what he did, he went good on the deal, and the label recouped all their money. He's good. A lot of artists ain't going to meet that. They're not going to get out the red with a deal like that. Drake did that. It proved his value. It proved what he's worth. So Drake this year is ready to spin the block. Now he gets into a rap beef with Kendrick. All of a sudden it's we don't know, you're not hot as you was. Kendrick is the hottest artist in the game now. What does that mean? What Kendrick is doing don't have nothing to do with what I'm doing. What Jay-Z said, what you eat don't make me shit. Whatever the battle was, okay, cool. I don't think that took away from Drake's value as an artist. He's still a global artist. He's still one of the legends in the game. He's still one of the biggest in the game. He lost the battle. I believe he lost the battle. So what? He recouped on a $400 million deal. Not a lot of artists could do that. So for him to be able to do that, he should be able to spin the block, sit at the negotiating table, and demand more money. But now, because he lost a battle, his value is not that no more. So now when you look into the audit and you sit there and say the label that I'm signed to that doesn't want to renegotiate with me, hold on. I'm finding out now that y'all are the ones that helped Spotify and did the deal with Spotify to push a record that was against me. I'm like, you playing both sides. If you playing both sides, then that's not fair at all. That's what he's saying the motive is. He's saying that they did all this just so that they can't negotiate a deal in his favor. It still keeps the labels in control and keeps the labels with the power. And the tech companies, which what a lot of labels are turning into, tech companies, and it's keeping them in control of everything. Someone like Drake that has his masters, someone like Drake that recouped on such a huge deal, he can sit there and say, damn, I did 400 mil the first time, I want $1 billion. The label's like, nah, we can't do that. So what he's accusing them of doing, of all these other tactics behind the scenes, so that they don't have to renegotiate such a huge deal and give them so much money. That's fucked up. And that's way bigger than a battle. Anyone that doesn't see that is just blind, or they don't understand business. You know, again, this has nothing to do with Kendrick. I feel like he lost the battle. But if they're doing that, devaluing the streams, using bots, he even said they altered the algorithm. He even said that payola, which goes on in the industry, we know that they pay to push records, you know, so that's not nothing new. But also he even said something about, like, when you would ask Siri to stream Certified Lover Boy, his album, Not Like Us will pop up because of the line, the certified lover boy, certified pedophile, wop wop. Because of that line, it would still push that song on that consumer that's looking for a Drake song. That's heavy influence on pushing a record and putting it in people's faces and it's a real crazy tactic to tarnish and diminish someone's credibility and stature, all because you don't want to pay that man. All because you don't want to pay that man. It's a crazy allegation. But him making these accusations now will allow all artists to look and see how shady this business is, to see how fucked up and how grimy they really move, even though they are on your team. Now, you know, I really do my research. I really know my music history and all this stuff. This ain't the first time a major artist that owned his masters and you know, wanted to negotiate certain deals and had major influence says that higher powers or higher ups had did things to diminish their character. It's happened with plenty of artists. Michael Jackson has happened too, and many other artists. You know, Michael Jackson, all the accusations that he had, it was at the peak of his career too. And other celebs and people have always said that when you get to a certain point of power, you know, things happen behind the scenes, and people with heavy influence will try to keep you below the ceiling at a certain bar, so that you don't get too powerful and get too influential and really get to the bag. Right now, it's just Drake's turn to really see if this is what's going on. And if it is what's going on, it's going to shake up the culture crazy. You know, it's really, really, really going to shake up the culture now. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot to take in. And that's why when I started seeing people say, oh, you know, that's not gangster, that's not how we move in the streets, and all that stuff. Listen, he's Drake. He's very powerful. He's a huge artist. There's no way in the world you're going to sit there and say that he can't sit at the table with Universal and get whatever he wants. And the fact that they don't want to sit with him, and before he even went this route, he tried to sit with them and they just brushed him off. It's wild to me. It's wild. You know, I mean, he's even saying that the money that he helped them make with this $400 million deal, that's the money they used to put behind Kendrick. That's crazy. That's crazy. They used that. They use what he's bringing in. I'm bringing in the revenue, and then you're taking the money and you're using it to hurt me. That's wild. But that's the music business. That's music business 101. You have to know your value. This all comes back to streaming. This all comes back to the power of the tech companies. And it all comes back to the fact that artists nowadays don't know what their value is because record sales are streamed. And there's no hard copies, physical copies, where you could sit there and put a price on that. You don't know what your ad revenues are. You don't know what deals are being made behind. You know, a 30% licensing discount is wild. And the only way you can do that is if you like, how you even do that? Who do you have to know to do something like that? Again, this don't have to be Kendrick. This could have been all Universal and Spotify. You know, it's going to benefit them anyway because Kendrick is also their artist. But to do that to Drake is crazy. You know, let the battle happen one-on-one. Whoever wins, whoever loses, it is what it is. But, you know, if these accusations are true, then that's wild. You know, now, if they're not true, then Drake, you bugging out. You're bugging out because that's like you being a little bitch. You feel me? But I don't know. I don't feel that's what he's doing. I feel like what he's doing is going to help artists in the long run benefit because it's going to push a lot of artists in the direction to fully understand what they're signing and what they're getting themselves into. Now, what can Drake do? There could be other motives behind this. Drake also don't need a label. He don't need a label. So this is a way for him maybe to get out of his deal also. And that is a very powerful thing because I think Drake is one of the artists that can go independent and say he doesn't need the labels no more and still eat crazy. He doesn't need a label. Maybe this is his way to get out of his deal also. All right, y'all want to renegotiate. Y'all want to give me my my Billy or my 800 or, you know, and double up with me, all right, cool, then I'm going to get out my deal, sue y'all. Y'all going to have to drop me, and then I could just go get money on my own. He's got enough assets to do that as well. So it could be a chess move on Drake's part also to get out of his deal, which would be very smart. You know, me as an artist, again, I've streamed 200, 300,000 monthly on Spotify and Apple, and I didn't know the value of my music. It was very frustrating to me. You know, I would see money here and there, 1 month a couple $100, 1 month a couple $1,000, but then it was never the same. It was always fluctuating. So I could never really gauge how much I was expecting to earn and look at what I'm making and certain things like that. I couldn't do that. And as an artist that's been in this game 10 plus years, 15 plus years, that becomes very frustrating because we're all independent artists. We're trying to figure it out, and we're doing the right thing. We're putting our music out. We're giving it to our fans, and you know, to be getting finesse like that is for what? It makes you feel like you're doing this for nothing. It discourages the artist. It discourages the art. So again, like I say, this all comes back to these same principles. You need to know what your value is. I've always pressed for a union in battle rap, but it seems like there needs to be a union in the industry, period. We all seen, you know, now that AI is becoming huge, we seen the screenwriters and the actors, and you know, they went on strike and they did certain things to implement certain measures to protect them. But the music industry didn't do that. The artists didn't stick together. They didn't do that. If I'm not mistaken, even when Jay-Z did his deal with Tidal, he had all the major artists lined up, including Drake. And it was a move for Jay-Z to tell people, to show like, yo, look, artists are going to stick together. We're going to use certain platforms that we are a part of, and we'll be able to set the standard of what our value is. And the irony in it is Drake is the one that pulled out secretly at the last minute and did his own deal with Apple. So Drake, you're not completely innocent, you know, of moving in the direction that will help the labels. It just helped you too at the time. And now it seems like it's come back to bite you. You know what I mean? Like karma spun a block on you. And I'm not saying you're innocent or anything like that, but at the same time, that you know, like now you really get to see how grimy it is. They when they needed you, yeah, you got the bag. Now they looking at it like they don't need you. Why? Because you're probably too influential, too powerful. And I think it's just wild. I think it's really wild, this whole situation. Hopefully, this lawsuit is going to open a lot of eyes. It's going to open a lot of doors for artists. And it's really, really, really going to help people realize how important it is to stick together in this culture and stick together in this industry, period. I'm a rapper, I'm a battle rapper, I'm a lyricist, I'm a hip-hop enthusiast, and I feel like these are the conversations that need to be had. This is way beyond street code and oh, I'm suing. No, this has much more to do with the fact of what's right and what's wrong, and how artists get used and abused every day. They'll benefit off of us once it's the drama. They'll benefit off of us when we shooting and killing and selling drugs and doing all this. And then when you get to a certain point, they don't need you no more. Or they don't want to pay you no more. So they'll make sure they don't need you no more in other ways. Filthy karma. Full Court Press, Cortez. Tap in. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Brooklyn.